should is strong advice. So number 4, how about Nam, would you try that for us?
It's my niece, 16 birthday next week. What could I get her? Why don't we get ticket to a concert? Or you could buy her a CD.
Okay, very good. Again, the clue is there were 2 options there. Since there were options, we use could. Very good. Let's see. Kai, would you do number 5 for us, please?
I can afford it. Can you give me any advice? If you are a good student, I think you should apply for a
Scholarship. Correct. She said should because the speaker is making a recommendation about what to do. The vocational school is very expensive. I can't afford it. Can you give me advice? Well, the person says, well, what you should do is apply for a scholarship. That's the first thing. That's the first choice. Okay, that was correct. Chop, how about number 6?
I need a new car to children. Where do you suggest I look for one? How about looking in the newspapers or you could look online?
Did you say could? Could. Correct. Could, meaning you have other options. You can go online, you can look in a newspaper, you could, go to a car lot and, look at what's available at the car sales place. So because there are options and she's just making a suggestion, she uses could. Now if I wanted to give the message, the meaning of an obligation, no choices, you have to do something, what would I say instead of should or could? What would I? Obligation, no exceptions. I would say must. Yeah. When you're driving your car down the road and an ambulance is coming up behind you, you must pull over to the side and let the ambulance pass. Is that the rule in Thailand? It is in North America. Okay. You have no choice. You can't, call the ambulance driver on your cell phone and say, "Well, I'm in a hurry too. You'll have to wait behind me." No, that won't go. You must pull over. It's an obligation. Could is a suggestion. Should is a strong recommendation. Must is an obligation, a rule. Okay? Very good. You did well with that. You did so well that I think we should take up something more difficult, don't you? Okay. Well, let's see. No, that's not this one. I'm going to introduce this to you, and then we'll work on it some more after break. It's going to take me longer to explain it to you than, well, it'll take me about maybe 20 minutes or so to explain it to you. So I'm going to get it started, and then just so you get an idea of how the rule works, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll come back and we'll do some practice on it, okay? Prepositional phrases. Have you worked with prepositional phrases before? Have you done that? Do you remember that somewhere in the past? Prepositional phrases? Well, first of all, we have to remember the difference between a phrase and a clause. A phrase is a group of words within a sentence that gives additional meaning to the sentence, but it does not include both a subject and a verb. Whereas a clause is a group of words within a sentence that gives additional meaning to the sentence that does have both a subject and a verb. And yesterday we worked with clauses, dependent clauses. Dependent clauses are introduced with words like before and after, and because of, under, above, those are all words that we use to introduce the clause. Well, now we're going to work with prepositional phrases. First thing we need to remember is what happened. Yeah, there we go. Sometimes this is a mystery. It just does things on its own. Preposition. Yeah, preposition. A preposition is a word. And it's a word, like we've used words like adjective to describe words that modify other nouns. We've used words like adverb, which modifies a word which modifies verbs. Well, a preposition is a word that is used to connect nouns, sometimes pronouns. And do you remember the difference between a noun and a pronoun? Do you remember that? Okay. Well, we can connect nouns, pronouns, other words in a sentence to the rest of the sentence. So a preposition is a word that connects other words. It's like a link between words. And here's some examples of prepositions that we come across. There's many, many prepositions. But of, to, these are the ones that are most common. Of, to, onto, in, into, with, across. Those are words that are used to connect phrases to the rest of the sentence. Now, a prepositional phrase is a group of words that starts with a preposition. And that phrase that begins with a preposition is used to modify other parts of the sentence. A prepositional phrase can modify or describe a noun. It can modify or describe a verb, depending upon the sentence. Here's an example. This is an example of a prepositional phrase that's working as an adjective. It's going to modify a noun. His car is the blue one with all the dents. With all the dents is the prepositional phrase. See, with is the preposition. With all the dents is the phrase, and it's modifying the blue one. And the blue one is modifying car. So we now know that the car is blue, and it has all the dents. So this is a phrase, preposition, other words. See, the with is connecting all of these words to a noun, the car. That's a prepositional phrase that's working as a modifier. Now we can also use a prepositional phrase to do the same thing as an adverb. In other words, the prepositional phrase will modify or give more meaning to the verb. The man ran across the street. Across is the preposition. The street is the rest of that phrase. So this is called a prepositional phrase. And it tells us where the man ran. So in this case, across the street is the prepositional phrase that is modifying ran. So prepositional phrase working as an adjective, modifying a noun. A prepositional phrase modifying a verb, working as an adverb. Prepositional phrases. Now, here's the exception. In English, we have many exceptions to rules. If the word is going to be a preposition, it has to have a group of words that follows it in order for it to be a prepositional phrase. Sometimes words that are used as prepositions don't have a phrase that follows it. For example, here, the cat ran down the tree. The cat's up at the top of the tree, and then it runs down the tree. Well, that's a prepositional phrase, right? Because down is a preposition, the tree is the rest of the prepositional phrase, and it's modifying where the cat ran. But, and here's another example. I plan to swim across the English Channel. Well, not really. It's too far, but it's just an example. Across the English Channel is the prepositional phrase. Across is the preposition. Here's the rest of the prepositional phrase. It's telling us where we're going to swim. But if I set the book down, it's just an